ED.
Yo,
Hey, you said it, man. You said it don't take all that. It don't take all that. Even in the frozen tundra. Look what happened.
there's no need to worry about being perfect when you're playing football. No need. I told you. I told you.
You did. And this is the Believe in 49ers podcast on the Believe Podcast Network. He is Super Bowl champion Eric Davis. I'm Rahshaun Haylock. Plenty to get to on this show. Niners advancing to its second NFC Championship game in 3 years after going into Lambeau in the snow, frigid, cold Lambeau, and getting out of there with a 13-10 win to advance to the NFC title game. We will break that down. We got game balls to hand out as well. But first, we want to encourage you and remind you to continue to download, subscribe, rate, and review. We're located wherever you find your podcast. If there's a like button on your particular podcast subscription service or a follow button, go ahead, hit one of those. Also, subscribe on YouTube as well. Feel free to get involved in the conversation. On Twitter, I'm at @RHaylock. He is at _Eric Davis _. And on Instagram, I'm at WatchRayRay. He is at Eric Davis _____. Wow. As always, we're brought to you by the fine folks at Bet Online. We would like to wish you a happy betting year or a happy new betting year. Is that like Happy New Year, new betting year? I guess so, right?
That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing.
Well, look, I mean, I still say Happy New Year to folks. I'll say Happy New Year through until we get to February. So if I haven't saw you, I'll still continue to tell you Happy New Year. Anyways, Bet Online wants to wish you a happy new betting year. #1 spot for all the best sports wagering action for 2022 new year, and a new updated desktop and mobile website to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code BELIEVE. That's BLEAV. Y'all know how to spell by now. From football, basketball, hockey, boxing, UFC to your favorite Vegas casino games, don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for 2022. Bet Online, fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports. Bet Online, where the game starts. He is Super Bowl champion Eric Davis. I'm Rahshaun Haylock. Game balls, ED. Game balls. Who you got?
No, you go ahead. You go ahead. I went first last time. I'll give you the honors on the frozen tundra.
All right, so this is what we do. This is what we do. I'm gonna give a game ball to Richard Hightower, special teams coach, an entire special teams unit. I'm gonna single out Jimmy Ward and Jordan Willis. Two biggest plays of the game. Jimmy Ward that blocked field goal, Willis with the blocked punt. Of course, Huff, our man Talanoa Hufanga with the scoop and score. But I mean, this game was all about the special teams, obviously, right? So we got to look. I meant to say this on the last pod, and I didn't get into it. I was talking to a buddy of mine about it a couple nights ago, or the night after the game, actually. And you look at this Niners special teams unit that has been just, for lack of a better word, trash, right? Like all year long. And finally ran into a unit worse than theirs, right? And that proved to be the difference. Just incredible. Who you got?
Okay. See, I like to think that it wasn't that they ran into a unit that was worse than them. I'm going to look at it as, remember, what did I tell you? To win a championship, you got to have a few surprises.
Oh, yeah.
That was one of those surprises along the way. You got to have some guys that come through that you didn't expect to do certain things. But you know, my number one ism on winning a championship is that stars have to be stars. That's the only way to win a championship. Your stars got to play like stars. Fred Warner had a star game. You said special teams. Well, the defense, if not for the defense and not for the effort of the defense, they don't win this game. What do I say? When you go on the road, you got to pack your special teams. You got to pack your defense because you never know what your offense is going to do. With the crowd noise, the conditions, you never, ever know. So you got to be prepared to play ugly football. And your ugly football comes from the defense, because defense is ugly when you're beating people up. And it comes from your special team. Fred Warner is a guy that's got to be a star for you because that's who he is. He's all pro Fred. He was a star. He played well. He made plays, caused turnovers. I'm giving him a game ball because so much is called, like you say, special teams coach and all those things. Yeah, that was a surprise. I have to expect my stars to be a star, and dude played like a star.
He definitely did. And look, I'm right there with you on the defense. I mean, you hold that team to 10 points, right? That offense has been tremendous all season long. That's a team that hadn't lost at home all season long. Rodgers' numbers have been magnificent at home throughout the course
Mm-hmm.
of the season. You know how we both feel about Devontae Adams. Like he's a cheat code as far as I'm concerned, right?
Well, and what did I tell you? What did I tell you? I said this is the thing. He's gonna make his plays. What did I say? Hit him. Just tackle. Like you're not going to stop him. He's gonna get the ball in his hands. Even when I was asked, how do you negate that quick release? You hit him. Dudes get tired of getting hit. And everyone was talking about the cold. What did I tell you? Number one, I told you that's not cold enough. I said, I'm sorry, that's not.
But it started snowing. That wasn't in the report. We weren't expecting that.
And I explained something to you. It's actually warmer when it snows. It only snows if the conditions are at a certain temperature. So if it's snowing, I know that it's not 20 below. It's not going to snow if it's that cold. We're not in the Arctic. So that's what I'm saying. So you see the snow and it looks like it's really cold, but it's not as cold to where, yes, it's cold with the snow, but it's not going to shut your body down. So that's the part of it that you got to look at and you got to think about. It's not. So that's what I know from experiencing it. It's not cold enough to shut your body down. It's cold, yes, but it's not the type cold that prevents you from thinking and doing the things that you can do because your body still responds. That's why. So number one, I knew it wasn't cold enough for that. Number two, what did I say? Make it ugly. Make it ugly. Niners win ugly football.
Yeah, it had to be that way. It had to be that way.
If it's a pretty game, they're not going to win. Pretty in football comes from offense. Did you see Kansas City and Buffalo the other night? That was beautiful. That was incredible, the playmaking that happens out there. That's all offense. Wasn't a whole lot of defense being played, right?
Yeah.
That's what happens. The Niners don't win that way. They're not going to win that way. They played Green Bay the first time, a lot of points were scored. You get pretty offense. You get guys making plays all over the field. That's not how they win. They win ugly, and I knew Green Bay couldn't win a game like that. So all of that other stuff, I wasn't even concerned with.
You don't take all that.
I was never concerned about that.
Don't take all that. That's what you said. Our resident meteorologist, Eric Davis, we can add that to your resume as well. So if I told you Niners are going to go into Lambeau and not score an offensive touchdown, what would you have said?
I could believe that possibly because I knew that it had to be ugly. It could have been.
But could you believe they would have got on the plane with the dub?
Yes, because
really?
I believe that it was from the start. I knew it had to be ugly. It had to be ugly. If it turns into a shootout, this offense is not designed to do that. That's not how they play. That's not when they're at their best. That's not what this quarterback does to make plays. That's not what this offense does. The offensive weapons. Debo is not a guy that is going to line up outside, beat you off the line of scrimmage like Devontae Adams, put a move on you, or like the Buffalo game where you got DBs laying on the ground. They're getting shook so bad. That's bad. They're gonna joke him. They can't get him right now because they lost it. But next year, whenever that shows up, you're gonna joke him because you can't just fall. But you don't have those receivers. You don't have guys like that. Plays are made after the catch. This offense has long handoffs, and you got players in Kittle, in Debo, in Ayuk.
Backyard.
Started to do that. That's
backyard. Yes.
That's the offense. Okay. So do I think, would I have thought that if it was a field goal game, they could win? Yes, because if you had asked me that question, the first thing I would have said, Green Bay kicking field goals too. Because as long as it's a one-score game, and really with the Niners, a two-score game, because as soon as they score, to get it back into one, the other team gets nervous. As long as it's a one-score game, I guarantee you the other sideline is worried because they know that's how they win. So yes, I would have felt okay. As long as you tell me the defense showed up that day, I'm not worried about it. No, not at all.
Ugly, yes. But I think that took on a whole nother level. Like if you would have sat here on the pod when we previewed this game and told me Niners aren't going to score an offensive touchdown, they're going to score 13 points, I wouldn't have thought that would have been enough to win the game. I'm glad you mentioned that about the two scores though. So here I am, Ed, and watching this game, and for lack of a better word, I am unstable, right?
Why?
I'm unstable, right?
You know what? I know why you're unstable. You were just like everybody that was tweeting me during the game. After that first drive, people were losing their minds.
It wasn't even that. It wasn't even that. I didn't get unstable until later on. It wasn't even that. That first drive, I was like, oh, okay, well, sometimes defense gives us on the first drive and then they figure it out, right? Like that happens.
That's what I said. The defense
that happens.
To the sideline. Now we know what you're trying to do. This is we thought you were going to do that. You're going to do this. We know how to stop what we thought you were going to do, and now let's talk about how we're going to stop what you're doing. That's football.
Yeah, so that didn't really bother me as much. So I'm sitting on the couch. It's grandma's birthday, so I got the computer right in front of me. I got the TV right here. We're on a family Zoom celebrating Granny's birthday, and it's the end of the first. We're nearing the end of the first half, and after that first quarter, Niners in the negative, right, in terms of total yards, right? Offense hadn't been able to do nothing, right? You put together, a decent drive. You get into opponent's territory, and I'm looking and I'm thinking about this. And I'm like, okay, this has not been pretty at all. But it's not even as bad as what was happening in the first half against the Rams. Like that was a 3-score game. Like this is only a 1-score game. So opportunity right here to score, get a 2-for-1, take in the locker room at halftime, get the ball back. I'm like, okay, right, like this is sitting up pretty nice. Jimmy throws an interception in the red zone, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is not good at all, right? And I'm just sitting here and just unstable. And the wife's like, babe, it's only the second quarter. Like, like she's trying to talk some sense.
Please listen, right? Please, I need to be involved with her. Because you are just a nervous wreck.
So, but it's like it's extreme pessimism in 1 second and extreme optimism in the other second, right? So Jimmy throws an interception, like, oh, that's not like you needed to get the points here, but you need to get at least 3, go in the locker room at halftime, yada yada. I'm like, all right, long field defense to be able to hold them. Aaron pops one over the top to the running back. And he takes it deep into their territory. I'm like, oh my gosh, like they're going to actually score here, right? Now I'm like, okay, this isn't good. Like we're about to go to the locker room down 2 possessions. Jimmy Ward, oh my gosh, right? Like comes through with that play was huge. Yeah. Going into the locker room at halftime because you steal the momentum from them. You pretty much nullify Jimmy's mistake in a sense. And it's still just a 1-possession game, and you get the ball back coming out of the locker room at halftime. And I thought that was just huge. That was so dynamic, and it was
absolutely.
It was. And I was thinking about it. I'm like, like there's a part of me like, all right, well, we can get a block field goal here, right? But did I really believe myself when I thought that? Like, no. And Jimmy just busts through and he blocks the field goal, and that was one of the beginning of a great night for teams.
That's the great part of playoffs. I always talk about it. Every play, every snap, because you always talk about the games and every play is important. No, playoff. Every single play. That's the part of playoff football, because it's not about competing. I say competing just means you're trying. No, it's about excelling. And every single play you need to win. Every play. What did I tell you? 1-0. I don't have to win 51% of the plays to win the game. No, I got to beat you 1-0. And playoffs, that one play that you don't execute can cost you your season. Yeah. And that's what that one time, Jimmy's rushing hard every play trying to block it. Those other guys better do their job. They didn't do their job. Special teams, twice in one night, you had guys not do your job, and that cost them. And that's what's going on. So even when Jimmy threw that interception, if you check my Twitter feed, you go back and you look at it, I didn't freak out. I just said we all knew it was coming. We knew that he was going to have one of those WTF throws. I know it. That's why I started the week off by saying, people, you don't have to play perfect to beat them.
Kittle was wide open too.
And Jimmy has those type plays. He has those type throws. It's going to happen. When he was completely healthy, he does that. I told you 2 years ago. I like the fact that he has it, but it gets him in trouble. That gunslinger's mentality.
Yeah.
Jimmy thinks that he can make every play, every throw, and his body fails him at times. In his head,
we've seen him make some of those throws too, but then other times it just doesn't show up, like on that play to Kittle.
Well, the thing about it is that he made that play in high school. He made that. A lot of people didn't see Jimmy play in college. I did. His school used to play against my school. Jimmy used to make those plays in college. You're going against a higher caliber of athlete. You're going against the Olympics of football players. Okay, these are the best athletes at this game in the world. So some of those same things that he used to do in his head, he's seen himself do it so many times that he thinks he can throw flat-footed, and I can throw the ball late outside. No. You can't throw the ball behind. You have that window, and it better be in that window because those windows close quickly. And you have to understand that if you don't have the timing down, so in his head he's done it. So that's what gets him in trouble. It's he has the right intentions. He's seeing things, but his body is not going to do some of those things that he expects that at the same pace that he used to get away with because you don't have the time to do it because the guys are just so much better. That's just number one. Then he'll just throw some balls that are just off. Every quarterback does it. I watched the entire games. I watched all those games last week, and there were quarterbacks that they had plays where they are just lighting it up. They'll have series, and then they'll throw a ball that's 5 yards over a guy's head. It just happens. But I knew he was going to do it, so I didn't freak out. Even when the score was 7-0 and the offense wasn't doing anything, I was looking at it, and the people that was like, what do we do here? And they need to do this, and they do that. I was like, you guys realize Green Bay had one drive. After the opening drive, they were going 3 and out, 5 and out, 4 and out, 3 and out, 6 and out. They weren't doing anything. I was like, guys, Green Bay knew they were one play away from disaster. So they get that. You come back down, even if they kick the field goal, and that's why I was just like holding to a field goal. It's still, you score, they're freaking out. They blocked it. I just started laughing. I just laughed, and I was like, "There's no way Green Bay can win this game." When that happened, I was like, "There's no way, like there's no way they can win this game."
Really?
I knew right then, no way they can win this game. No, I can go back and show you something even after the interception. Someone tweeted me talking about the quarterback and what he can't do, and you can't win a Super Bowl with this quarterback. And my response to him was, and this was beginning of third quarter, I said, but he will win this game. I already knew it. I knew it because I knew it was going to be an ugly night. And if you play ugly football, I told you, there was only one team in the NFC that worried me and one team in the AFC that worried me. Though there were only two teams that I was concerned about the matchup, not the talent. Not the talent. The Niners aren't the most talented team across the board. They're good, really good, but they're not the most talented. So I'm not. It's about how those players match up and how the styles match up, what they're capable of doing. Only two teams bothered me. Neither of those teams are around. So you better not let the Niners. You better not let the Niners play their brand of football. If you let them force you into playing their brand of football, which is what Green Bay did, they allowed them to force them into playing their brand of football. And because they are so physical, because they go through you and they are so committed to playing that way, they can force you into it. Like I told you, Bill Burgess, my college coach, said, that's the great thing about football. Contact allows you to make the opponent do what you want them to do.
Yeah.
That's the Niners' philosophy.
This is the Believe in 49ers podcast on the Believe Podcast Network. He is Super Bowl champion Eric Davis. I'm Rahshaun Haylock. The fascinating thing about all of that is, I mean, Jimmy we know what Jimmy is, right? Like, and Jimmy does some things from time to time. Wasn't like Aaron Rodgers set the world on fire that night either, you know. But of course, Jimmy is and always has been an easy target. I feel like on this show
But, man, can I tell you
we've
something?
been scared.
It's funny. I had all the Green Bay people talking to me last week, and they were all like, "No, no way, all no, blah 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 blah," and they were just talking about the great Aaron Rodgers and that Green Bay offense, and the pedestrian Jimmy Garoppolo and the pedestrian offense, run game, and all this stuff. And I was just like, guys, and they started giving me all the Aaron Rodgers stats and records and blah blah blah, and MVP. And I just told them, I said, guys, I do want to point something out to you. And I don't know if I said it on the pod or whatever, but I know I told you. I said, I want to point out to you. I was like, one of these teams average 26 points a game.
Oh yeah, you talked about that on
I was like, there's a 1 point difference in what they average offensively. I was like, so at the end of the day, I was like, we're not talking about who's the better player. We're talking about production of their offense. And the other guy, and I was like, well, he can throw the ball, he can do all this. The dude averages 5 more yards a game passing. The great Aaron Rodgers averages within his offense, with his weapons, 5 more yards a game. I was like, that's a hitch. That's a hitch. That's one extra hitch. So I'm just looking at that, and I was like, dude, you realize when they play against the Niners, he never lives up. He never exceeds his average play. Most of the time, playing against the Niners defense, Aaron Rodgers drops below his mean, right?
Yeah.
Which means you ain't gonna be you're not gonna be the world-beating guy that's gonna destroy Jimmy Garoppolo because your numbers aren't that much better in the first place.
Yeah.
And that's what happened when you make a team play ugly football. That's what happens.
There was a note that got passed to me. Jimmy Garoppolo had never played in less than 32 degrees. I found that fascinating because he went to Eastern Illinois, obviously, and also played in New England. I thought that was fascinating. But I mean, look, you know, everybody had to deal with it. So we fast forward now. The block punt was so interesting to me because you go back the week before, right? And the attempt of a block punt, which caused a roughing the kicker, 15-yard, could have swung that game entirely the other way for the Cowboys, if not for the defense stepping up on a sudden change opportunity. But from that moment on, there was no urgency on the punt block, right? Like there was no aggressiveness on the punt block. It was gone from that point on. The rest of that Cowboys game, right? And so for them to get in there in light of, you know, what happened the previous week, and for them to be able to get in there, Jordan Willis make the biggest play, you know, of the game, or one of the biggest plays of the game, and turn that into 7. I thought that was just fascinating to me. And then you look at the 3rd and 7, right, which was huge. And Debo said originally it was supposed to be a pass, and then Kyle called a timeout and said, you know what, no, we're just going to run. And you're thinking about it at that time, you're looking at like a 52-yard field goal, right? So like at that point, it's 3rd down. Like you just want to get some yards, right? And he ends up getting a 1st down. You just want to get some yards, make it a better attempt for Robbie Gould, you know, a more manageable attempt potentially, and hope the defense, you know, can hold up and not, you know, replicate what happened, you know, at the Field of Dreams earlier this season when all Aaron Rodgers needed was, you know, 30 plus seconds to get him downfield for Mason Crosby to come out and do his thing. Debo picks up that 1st down. Kyle changes the play. Debo picks up that 1st down on the ground, and it is game. Like, ball game over.
Stars being stars. That's simple. Stars being stars, man.
What do you think went into that whole sequence though for Kyle?
Well, it's like a ground ball as opposed to a pop-up. You know, there are less things that can go wrong. So that's what you're doing right now, because you got to get the right read. You got to run the right routes. The field had gotten slick from the snow. You got to worry about your receiver slipping. You have to worry about the timing and all of these things. You got to worry about the protection being proper. because Compton was having some issues. So you got to worry about all of those things as opposed to saying, yes, we still have to block it properly and all this stuff, but I'm going to put the ball in the hands of someone that I believe understands the situation, understands that we need to get something positive out of this. And worst case scenario, we'll get positive yardage out of this play to put us in a better position to kick it. I think that's what goes into a decision like that. It's not a lack of this person can't do that or this person, I don't trust this person. It's just
of course, that's how it's perceived though, right?
Yeah, that's how it's going to always be perceived. But the issue is like what I just said, like what's the smartest thing for everyone that's involved? Because there have been good throws and drop balls all night long. You know, guys that we know can catch. I mean, we saw everybody dropping balls.
Yeah.
So that's just a part of it.
Green Bay not having any more timeouts left. That's got to factor into the equation.
All of that factors into the equation on what you want to do in that situation. And there you go. It worked out. So you know, now down to that punt. You were talking about that the Cowboys game and then them not being aggressive and things like that. I don't think that was necessarily them not being aggressive because that happened, because I just playing on that punt return team, I just know at the time how my special teams coach, he never, not once, he was like, I'm not giving you any help on the guys. I'm not doing anything. I remember like when I got to the Panthers, and he got very, very good special teams coach there. But he got there and it was just like, you don't even need to concern yourself. And this is what I'm saying outside with the guys. He was like, it doesn't even matter what the other stuff is. And it was like, you don't need to come to meetings or anything like that because none of it's going to affect you. He was like, I'm going to put a guy out there. There's going to be a gunner. Don't let him get to the punter. Reason being, you're an all-pro corner. If you can stay with a wide receiver one-on-one when you can't touch him down the field, you mean to tell me I can maul this guy all over the field and I can't stay with him? Remember, you see what I'm saying? My point. So I don't think that had anything to do with the aggressiveness. I think that's just the flow of the game and how you want to do things, because a corner should be able to stop a guy. Because remember, all I have to do is stay between him and the punt returner. I don't have to knock him down. I don't have to blow him up. I just have to make certain that I stay between the two of them so he can't make the tackle. It's not that hard. It's definitely not as hard as covering the receiver, because I can't touch the receiver. So that's all I'm saying on that. Which is why I go back to say, like, Josh, you know better than that. You can't let that happen. That's just a lack of focus. That's what I was just saying earlier about.
I'm talking about before that with the 15-yarder when they got the roughing the kicker penalty against Dallas. That could have swung the game, right? That's the part that I found so fascinating, because it was like this happened. This was almost a momentum swinging play at Dallas, and then here's an opportunity now. You need a play, you go after it, you get it.
Yeah,
it was almost
because even that play, guys are taught every single day. You know better. You know better when you are that guy rushing. You know the angle you have to take. You can see. That's what I always say about these guys. You know that's why.
Is there a more feast or famine play in all of football than the potential blocked kick, right?
Yeah.
Is there? Because I mean, if he touches the ball, I mean, you touch the ball, you can run the kicker all you want, right? But you got to at least touch the ball, right? And so you can be centimeters there, not touch the ball, run into him. That's 15 yards. You know what I mean? Like game of inches, right?
So guess what? So what you do, you're right. So you take an angle to block the ball without hitting the punter. Your intention is never to hit the punter. Even if you block the ball, I'm not trying to hit the punter. You know why? Because if I block the ball, I want to be able to stay free of him so I can pick it up and score a touchdown. No one is taught to run into the punter. So if you do that, that's user error. Okay. That's user error. That's not, people want to blame the coach. It's not the coach. That's a professional player. This is not a Pop Warner high school player. This is a professional grown man. He knows what he is supposed to do. You understand the angles. You understand what you can and cannot do on every single play. It's like when you hit guys in the head and all these type things. Now, there are some times where a player will move and some of this stuff, like, hey, you know what? That's just tough. There was nothing the guy can do. I'm airborne. I'm trying to hit someone here. This guy ducks, all these types. That that's one thing. But when the guy's held up and then someone runs in and hits them with the top of their head, that's user error. That's less than smart. You know better. You're a professional player. You can't hit somebody in the face, so you don't do it. It's just that simple. It's Mitchell when he's giving a stiff arm and he gets 15 yards on that one play. Mitchell he knows you can't grab a guy's face mask.
Yeah.
You just can't. So I'm like, no, I don't want to hear your excuse on that one. It's really that simple. I know you can't do that. I know you can't do that. So don't do it. That's the end of my coaching. It's really that simple. Because if you keep doing that, you can't play. So just don't do that because you know the rules. You know everything you're supposed to do in that field, man. Yeah.
13-10, the final. Niners knocking off the Packers. Aaron Rodgers falling to 0-4 against the Niners all time in the postseason.
Did you actually think he was going to win that game? I know you were worried, but did you actually think the Niners were going to lose that game?
Oh, I was concerned. Even after Jimmy's blocked field goal, like where you thought that was maybe the game for the Niners, my thoughts was, okay, there's still a chance, right?
Remember?
My whole thing was like, you can't go into the locker room down 2 possessions in this weather.
Well, yeah, you can, as long as you come out, like I said, what did I tell you? The worst thing, and I did it going there in that 23 below. And everyone, it was 10-10 at the half, and everyone always asked me what happened. I was like, we came out of the tunnel, and it was cold. We got into that tunnel. You have that extended halftime in those type games because we were in the NFC Championship game. They didn't have that, but so we had an extended halftime. So your body gets warm and all this stuff. And that's all I was saying. And I even tweeted it during the game. I was like, guys, be prepared to come out of the tunnel and deal with the cold again. It's like starting over.
All over. Yeah.
And they came out first drive, offensively, defensively. They played well. And I was like, this is done.
I mean,
remember, styles make fights.
Styles make fights. But seriously, like for 2 days, I mean, even today, like I'm still like, wow, just wow, right? Because Robbie Gould kicked that field goal, and you know this, Ed. He made the field goal. Only lead of the game, most important lead of the game, but the only lead. That was the only lead of the game.
You only need to lead once, and that's what I.
That most important time.
I get asked all the time, what's the score of the game? And all I say, guys, we win, they lose. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's it. And we're going to get into the Rams because this one, we've talked it. Defense showed up. Special team showed up throughout the game, and they held up long enough for Jimmy. And I said this, and people were like, oh, you can't say this, all this stuff. And I was like, you say what you want to say about Jimmy, but he has the clutch gene. And by that, I mean, he doesn't get nervous in those situations. I've seen him in 2-minute situations and fourth quarter situations with the game on the line, execute. And everyone can say that he's not that guy. Aaron Rodgers had the same opportunity with his offense, with the same Super Bowl potential on the line, and he couldn't do it in that situation.
Yeah.
Jimmy got the ball. Yes, give it to Debo, do the thing. But guess what? Stay calm. There's a certain look in your eye that you have to have in the huddle for the other guys to be like, oh, we got this. Because you start to worry, they worry. And there's an expectation from his teammates that he can get it done, and they get it done. And that's all I'm saying, that is there, and that matters, especially the way this team plays right now. And we're going to get into the Rams later on this week. And I've already told you, I don't ever lose sleep Rams week.
Well, I mean, you already know the conversation, right? This is the third meeting, right? Niners won the first 2, 3 times. Can you beat a team 3 times in the season? That's going to be the prevailing.
Can you beat a team 3 times? I beat them, 8, 10 times in a row. I, I, I mean, like what?
Well, I mean, Niners have beat them 6 times in a row, right? I mean,
No, seriously, dude, I lost to the Rams my rookie year, the first time I played them, and I never lost to them again. I never lost to them again, I think, until like my second year, maybe with the second or third year with the Rams. I mean, with the Panthers.
Wow.
Dude, I've beaten the Rams too many times to be concerned about the Rams. The Rams don't match up with the 49ers. They don't build their team. It's a different philosophy, the way they build their team. Not about talent. The Rams are far and away a more talented football team. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Fights make styles, and they don't know how to fight like we do. So because of that, they don't get to utilize their talent. That's all. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah, we'll get it. We'll get into that. Niners knocking off the Packers. One thing about the Packers and that surprised me a little bit defensively. I did not think they'd be able to get after it defensively, like especially that front. That front played a whole lot better than I anticipated, and some of that could have been. I mean, they got after it, and some of it. I mean, you can factor in a bunch of things, but that was not what I was expecting, which caused me to be even more unstable. Ed, but that's that will be that. So Rams week this week. Once again for the third time this season, 49ers advancing to play the Rams in the NFC Championship game, returning to SoFi Stadium, the place where they clinched their playoff berth just couple of weeks ago, the beginning of this year, and so yeah, I mean it's buzzing. It's that time of the year. You're down to the final 4 teams in the NFL, and this for the right to go to the Super Bowl. So one of those teams playing in SoFi Stadium on Sunday will be back there for the Super Bowl in February. So we will definitely break that one down for you. As always, we want to encourage you to continue to download, subscribe, rate, and review. We're located wherever you find your podcast. If there's a like or a follow button, go ahead, hit that like or follow button on your particular podcast subscription service. Hit us up on YouTube, subscribe there as well. Get involved in the conversation on social media. I'm at Haylock. He is at _Eric Davis_ on Twitter and on Instagram. I'm at Watch Ray Ray, and he is at Eric Davis ______. Niners advancing to the NFC title game. For my partner, Super Bowl champion Eric Davis, I'm Rahshaun Haylock. This has been the Believe in 49ers podcast on the Believe Podcast Network. We will see y'all later this week.
Peace.